what I have in the truck is a salad. I said, what do you mean? I said, I have soldiers, police officers, civilians, and terrorists. Everything in the truck. The truck was like full from top to bottom with bodies. It's something that you can't imagine. It took us 3.5 hours just to empty out the truck, putting in different divisions every body to have them in the right place. 3.5 hours. And while you're driving down, the only thing that you hear from the guys with us is, when are we going back? That's the understanding. It's not like, okay, when am I going home taking a shower? No. When are we going back to the scenes?
Welcome back to another episode of Inspiration for the Nation. I'm Yaakov Langer, and this week I talked to one of the heads of Zaka and talked to him about one of the most difficult jobs, maybe the most difficult job on this planet. Trigger warning, there are some sensitive topics and conversations that we have in this week's episode. Since October 7th, they have been at the scenes of Be'eri and all the places that were where Hamas came and murdered thousands of people. And their job is to collect the bodies or the remains, unfortunately, of anyone killed. And when I say anyone, it's not just the civilians. They are also faced with the terrorists' bodies. What do they do with them? And this episode, I think, is very powerful now because we talk about the humanitarian ideas and how truly good Israel is, because we've been hearing so much hatred and just lies about Israel. And I think it's important to hear firsthand from someone who's there and is doing the hard work about, giving the decency for those who were killed. This episode is in memory of Shimon David ben Yaakov Shleimer, as well as Miriam Sarah Bas Yaakov Moshe. And stick around to the very end because I have a personal message to share. This episode is also L'Refuah Shalema, Shmuel ben Margalit, and Meira Shoshana Bas Sarah Rivka. They should both have a full Refuah Shalema. You will hear later on how you can dedicate an episode Le'ilu Nishmas Refuah Shalema, someone that you love. This episode, you're going to hear about the Dream Raffle, a way how you could support really incredible organizations in Eretz Yisrael and how you could potentially win a free apartment. You're going to also hear about Tomar, a good friend of mine now, who is helping so many people buy the best priced apartments in Israel, no matter where it is. And now is definitely the best time. You will hear about our friends at BitBean and how they can custom make a software solution for you and your business and how it could solve so many of your problems. You'll also hear about how Twillory's ear suit has been changing my life. Lastly, stick around because at the very end of the episode, my brother Eli comes in and we try to bring in some Adar energy. That wasn't planned, and I hope you enjoy it. Here is the full conversation with Zaka. I'm Yaakov Langer, and you're listening to Inspiration for the Nation. Okay, all the way from Eretz Yisrael, Simcha Greinman. Thank you so much for being here. For someone who doesn't know what Zaka is, could you give a description of who Zaka is?
Okay, so Zaka, basically, Zaka stands for identifying bodies in situations, in hard situations that basically when you have someone that is deceased in their house, so you call Magen David or Hatzalah or whatever, and they take care of, and then the Chevra Kadisha comes in. We deal with situations, hard situations, like older people that were left in their houses, and after 2 weeks, people call police or something like that. So we get calls from the police, basically. Oh, car accidents. Oh, terror attacks, stuff like that. And Zaka is a special volunteers. Everyone's volunteers. We're not only in Eretz Yisrael, we're international. The understanding of doing Chesed Shel Emes is not only with Jews, Dafka. It's understanding that humanity around the world, any situation, any country around the world that needs help, we come. Earthquakes around the world, Haiti, and after the tsunami over there, year ago in Turkey, they had 18 bodies of turkeys that got killed in an earthquake. Many years back, Bombay, Egypt, different situations. 9/11. Zaka comes anywhere. It doesn't make a difference if it's Jews, or Christians, or even Islam. It doesn't make a difference. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that brings us and the one that really created man. And as a creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we need to understand that it doesn't make a difference. And here we come into the story of Simchas Torah.
October 7th.
October 7th. I don't like using that. Basically, because we're Jews, it's hard for me to give it a name. People say a black Shabbos. Shabbos can never be black. It's understanding. Shabbos can never be black. Shabbos is pure. So Simchas Torah, yeah, it's a sad Simchas Torah. I'm a medic, and I'm always on call on Shabbos. Shabbos, Yontif, I'm always on call as a volunteer. And I go with my phone 24/7. And if the phone rings, that means I'm needed. I left my house 7 o'clock in the morning. I heard in the background some noises from towards Gaza area and all that. Where I live in Kiryat Sefer, Modin Elite, there was not even one siren the whole time. And we don't have any radios on and no television, so for sure now we don't have any information what's really going on. But the goyim of the ambulance drivers that went back and forth for having babies and stuff like that. So we got the information from here and there from different goyim that work in the yeshivas and stuff like that. And we didn't really know what's going on, but it's Simchas Torah. Everyone's dancing in the shul. I was with my grandchildren, my children, having a great time. God, when He created the world, He looked at the letters in the Bible and used them as a semantic how to create the world. To understand through those letters, through the understanding of the way of living the life, creating man, creating the world itself through the understanding through the letters. And this is when it happened. This whole scary situation of switching, of understanding from happiness to sadness. The people in the rave party, they were living the lives, the happiness, whatever they had, out of music, out of a festival. We were in shul, having a great time, dancing, happiness. People living their life in the kibbutzim around that area, understanding what life means to them, each one in his understanding. And all of a sudden, boom, everything changes.
You personally, what was your first interaction as a Zaka member?
So I get the call at 2 o'clock, 2:20, my phone rings. And on the other side of the line, there's a commander from the army. I served in the army 27 years as a special first responder and bring evidence from different situations, earthquakes and stuff like that. It's called Anoch, Isuf Netunei Chalim, collecting evidence from different areas and scenes and understanding what really, trying to bring as much evidence as possible. That was my officially commander in the army. So I get the call and I'm asked to call in to the army, 30 something people from Kiryat Sefer, from Modin Elite, and no one's with their phones on Shabbos, Yontif. So I go around collecting these guys and I'm telling them that something's wrong, something's happening. And a full bus went out, 55 people went out from Kiryat Sefer to right away to serve in different divisions. And after that I went home. I told my wife, okay, I'm next on line to get called in. So she told me, okay, go take a nap because last night was Simchas Torah and today you got up early and you're dancing a whole day. At least sleep for for half an hour, 45 minutes after that I got the call. It was already close to Shabbos was over, Untif was over, and I get a call from Chaim. Chaim is one in charge to call the guys in. And he says to me, Simcha, take the truck. I said, the truck? You're sure you need the truck? Okay, the truck is, we have different divisions in the Chesed Shel Emes and Zaka. And basically we have a truck for massacre. We bring tents, tables, chairs, whatever they need for families that sit on morning times. And so we bring them. They should have a place to sit with their family to mourn. And we have Aron Kodesh and different things. So that's basically what we use the truck for. 3 years ago in Miron, when we had the tragedy of 45 people got killed over there. So I took on that truck 14 bodies. And it took me a long time to cope with the situation, go through whatever happened. It wasn't easy. Then, talking about over here, hundreds of bodies. So I take the truck. I call in 5 members of Zaka. People that, as a volunteer, 32 years in Zaka. These guys, I know that I can rely on them and make sure that when I bring them in, they're capable of dealing with different hard situations. Burned cars, people that got killed in different acts and all that. So I know whoever I'm taking with me will be able to work without any distraction. Mm-hmm. Well, we didn't plan on seeing or meeting or getting to a scene like this in our lifetime. And we saw buses blow up, we saw restaurants blow up, we saw situations, hard situations. But we're talking about over here, first of all, the amount of bodies that you're dealing with, hundreds of bodies. And the things that we saw, you can't believe.
I'm not sure if I want you to give descriptions, but a part of me think it's important, and we could give a warning for people before. But can you describe what you saw?
Okay, so basically we're driving down towards Ashkelon. We were told to drive to Ashkelon. There's a hospital over there, and they were bringing to the hospital people, and they said, okay, they'll need the truck to load some of the bodies. And driving down to Ashkelon, all of a sudden we get a call back, and he said, no, continue straight to Sderot. There's a bunch of bodies over there already. So I'm heading down the highway, and I hit on between 34 and 323. That's basically the highway. I get to the light, and I say to the guys in the truck, did anyone hear a siren? So they say, well, why are you asking? So I say, look ahead, what's going on? And what we see on my left side, I see a car that's flipped over. And on the right side, I see a car totally burned. And there's bodies on the highway. Bodies outside the cars. And as a medic, and all the crew with me are also first responders. So I said, okay, let's stop the truck. Let's get out. We'll see what's going on over here. Maybe we missed a missile. Maybe we missed a siren. Oh, something happened over here. And I said, guys, before we get out of the truck, let's call up just to hear what's going on, or even to call to ask for help. So I call Chaim, because he's the commander giving us instructions. So he says to me, first of all, don't stop the truck. Don't stop for anything. Shut your lights off, because you're a target. I said, what do you mean I'm a target? He says to me, any second there's terrorists in the fields around you. They can just jump out and start shooting you. And you're with such a big truck, you're becoming a target. Don't stop for a second. So yeah, but there's bodies. He says, don't stop. Until you get to an army base or a police station or whatever, you don't stop. When you'll have police and army around you, watching you, each one has his own pistol, but that's not enough. Mm-hmm. They're talking about guys with M16s and different ammo and RPGs. You're not going to shoot them with a gun, with a pistol. So that's what I do. I continue driving in between the car and the bodies on the highway. Cars, bodies. It was crazy. It's crazy what we saw. And a drive that normally would take me 3 minutes took like nine and a half minutes driving in between all these bodies in the cars. And then I get to the entrance of Sderot, Shaar HaNegev it's called, where they had the place that I was supposed to get to. And as I park the truck, I see there's a pile of 20 bodies, at least 20 bodies, ready for me. So like 14 bodies I took in Miron. I'm talking about 20 bodies over here. And the highway is full of bodies. And it's talking about what we saw with our eyes. The welcoming was like at least 50 bodies.
How many of these bodies were intact? How many of them were mutilated?
Well, basically, they were shot with hundreds of bullets, every body over there. There were bodies, the cars were burned, totally burned. Those cars were scary just to understand the situation. When we have a burned car, so you get, the flesh is burned, and what's left is only a skeleton. So usually we put a bag under and we pick up whatever is left. Over here, when we touch the bones, they disintegrated in a second. We were left with ashes. It's understanding that you're talking about heat like up to 600 degrees. It's not normal what we dealt over there. We had to bring vacuum cleaners to vacuum every corner of the car and make bags and making marks that every bag is a different body, basically. It was something that you can't understand. Going car by car, looking into the cars, and you see baby seats. You see baby seats full of blood, and you're looking for the bodies. And you're looking for it's unbelievable. Bodies that were shot in different situations. They had the time. They just shot them again and again and again. Made sure that they're dead. And not only on the highway itself, you saw them running. They ran out towards the fields. Well, basically, when we got to Sderot, we stopped over there. We loaded those 22 bodies over there. In the background, you hear the shooting in the police station. That's 2 blocks away, and sirens. And you're running into shelters, and you're laying under the truck. Every second you had to make sure that you're covered.
Right.
And you hear all the time the shooting, and you say to yourself, any second someone can jump out any field.
Hold on, I need to stop. We'll be right back this week's episode, but we've gotten so many people telling us about how excited they are that they might win the apartment in Yerushalayim. Shmuel, could you please tell us about the amazing Dream Raffle?
Sure. Thanks again, Yaakov. Always a pleasure to be here. This is the last chance, guys, because the drawing will be held on Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. That's March 11th. We were supposed to have the raffle already at the beginning of the year, but due to the war, we put everything on hold, obviously. So it's March 11th. That's Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet. Already it's in the spirit of Purim. And just simply go to thedreamraffle.com and you could purchase a ticket, get 2 for 1 because we love you guys here in Living L'Chaim, 2 for 1. And also use the coupon code LL as in Living L'Chaim and take $10 off. And all the money goes to tremendous, tremendous causes. For example, we're helping the Kitat Konenut, the civilian response teams that are so important. We see what happened on October 7th until the army got there. What kept the tragedy from being much worse? These civilian security teams. And they're calling me literally every day. They need bulletproof vests and they need helmets and all these machshirei kesher, these walkie-talkies and so on. And we're helping them. And also we're helping farmers rebuild after the terrible tragedy. We're helping search and rescue, Sderot ambulance, bulletproof ambulance. This is what we're doing. Also, we're one of the biggest donors to lone soldiers. I know that's a big cause that a lot of people love to support. All this from the Dream Raffle.
I love it because you have the opportunity to win a beautiful, gorgeous apartment in the heart of Yerushalayim. But more than that, no matter what, you're guaranteed to be helping Am Yisrael out. And we know how much need there is for help. It's the tragedy, hopefully we're past it, but the results of it is still living on, and we still need to always be protected for what's going to happen. And people like you and the supporters and the volunteers, what you guys are doing is literally changing lives. So thank you.
Thank you. Baruch Hashem, we're doing very important work. And what's good is because nobody on Am Yisrael Chai is on payroll. The money goes, obviously there's marketing costs involved in the raffle and running the raffle, but the 100% of the net proceeds goes to the causes that I just mentioned. So go to thedreamraffle.com. This is the last chance, people. Coupon code LL, as in Living L'Chaim, gets you $10 off. 1 + 1. Last chance for this year's 6th Dream Raffle, thedreamraffle.com.
Thank you very much, Shmuel. And everyone, please go there, support them, support us, and go ahead and buy yourself.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you. I know you have a mission here, but you weren't scared to be like, listen, I'm trying to, your job is to help the bodies after. And of course, it's one of the most incredible things someone could do for someone who passed on. But at the same time,
You're putting yourself
you're putting yourself in danger for someone who
you don't think about yourself. That's the whole thing. Your adrenaline is so high and you're into it of the chesed. Not only that, the main understanding is two things. Number one, as fast as you can bring the bodies to identify, the family can start sitting shiva. People know what happened to their family,
right?
their,
they have closure,
their children, their parents, anyone, whoever it is. Because people were so mixed up. No one knew what the situation is. Who's alive, who's dead, who's taken captured. And terrorists are still running around. Everything was crazy. Now, you don't think about yourself. You think about one mission. Bringing as fast as you could the evidence to be able to identify whoever it was. Number one. Number two, any body that stays on the highway could be taken into Gaza any second. So that was the main mission. Now, the police said not only that you have to pick up all the bodies, whatever you see, you have to collect the terrorists also. So why do you need to collect the terrorists? So there's two reasons. Number one, if you leave a body of a terrorist on the highway, we have to leave police officers to watch those bodies. So instead of having those police officers fighting against the terrorists, they're now standing and watching the bodies. That's number one. Number two, there's troops are coming into Gaza of young soldiers, 18, 19, 20, 21, young soldiers, and they're going to see bodies on the highway. That's going to kill their morale. And they're not going to be able to cope with the situation. So our main goal was clearing the highways from the bodies. So we had soldiers surrounding the truck, driving with us slowly to every car, unloading from the truck, taking care of the body. With us, we had 2 units of police that they take all the pictures and all the identification, whatever it is they need to take on scenes. And that's how we continued. Took us that 9.5 minutes of drive, took close to 5 hours.
Wow. 5
hours collecting 38 bodies from the highway. So we had 22 bodies from before on the entrance of Sderot. 38 bodies. We're already close to 60 bodies in the truck. 60 bodies. We took 14 bodies then. We had 45 people that got killed in Miron. But we were, for respect, we made only one layer. Over here, we were piling piles after piles after piles on the truck. That evening, we had 72 bodies in the truck. It's something that you can't even understand. If you see one layer, we're talking about from the floor to the ceiling, packed with bodies. Talking about clearing out the shelters on the highway. People were killed over there with grenades. Talking about 7 or 8 people in a room killed by 4 or 5 grenades. You can't find a body. It's pieces, parts, and collecting all that. Now, we're not talking about cleaning the scenes that took us 3.5 months afterwards. Cleaning the scenes. But we're talking about just collecting whatever we have on basically the main highways. This is only a little strip of 34. We're talking about 270 bodies in a Nova party. And on the highway around the Nova party, another 350. You're talking about that evening we got to Shura, close to 600 bodies. Do you understand what it means?
I can't. I mean, I'm hearing the numbers, but like it doesn't really add up because like every person is like They have a father and mother, maybe children, a spouse, grandparents,
Exactly.
cousins.
How many friends
and
did
it's
you have in your class?
Right.
20, 30 friends? Talking about whole schools? You're talking about like 600 people? 600 bodies? It's something that you cannot imagine. You can't understand the amount of bodies that you're collecting. And it's something that you can't, your brain doesn't think. You do not think for a second what you're really dealing with.
Was there ever a point where you just broke down? Like how?
Yeah, well, basically, as a commander, I couldn't let anyone around me feel that I'm falling apart. So I all the time working like a machine, like a robot, collecting, afterwards collecting in the kibbutzim and all that, dealing with situations that, forget about that, what we dealt with inside the kibbutzim. But I'm talking about only the highways, like the main, whatever we saw around, the people that got shot. We're not talking about disasters that we really saw, part of the bodies that were cut to pieces and all that. I'm talking about the normal, okay? Forget about it. We can't call it normal, but
The
I would say
average.
the average bodies that were only shot 100 times. But you're talking about a situation of collecting hundreds of bodies. Take a stadium and look at one side of the stadium. You say, how many people are sitting in the stadium? 500, 600, 1,000 people? 600 bodies. It's an amount that you cannot understand what you're dealing with. I'm driving down to Shura with the truck, and a partner of mine, every Thursday evening, from 7 o'clock in the evening until 7 o'clock in the morning, 12 hours, I'm a ambulance driver for already 6 years almost, and my partner, he's a commander in Shura. So I call him up and he says to me, okay, for sure you are on your way with the truck. He says to me, so what are you bringing me? So I say, I'm bringing you a salad. He says to me, what's salad now? Now we're dealing with bodies. Are we bringing me salad? I said, no. What I have in the truck is a salad. He said, what do you mean? I said, I have soldiers, police officers, civilians, and terrorists. Everything in the truck. The truck was like full from top to bottom with bodies. It's something that you can't imagine. It took us 3.5 hours just to empty out the truck, putting in different divisions every body to have them in the right place. 3.5 hours. And while you're driving down, the only thing that you hear from the guys with us is, when are we going back? That's the understanding. It's not like, okay, when am I going home taking a shower? No. When are we going back to the scenes? Everyone's like, fire.
They want to do more.
Everyone's like, fire. We have to make it as many as possible and as fast as possible. It's something that it's hard to understand when you're not in it. And some people will say like, what? Are you crazy?
Yeah, it sounds crazy. Like I would want to run away and never go back.
But exactly. But that's the whole part of dealing with this situation and understanding that what you're doing, you're capable. Mishnah says, Mishnah, Pirkei Avos, b'makom she'ein anoshim, in a place that there are no people, as the Mishnah says, you have to become a man. Mm-hmm. Stand up for who you could be, or you could do something that other people can't. Some people can't see blood. I can't become a
doctor.
Yeah, I can't. Maybe yes, but I can't become a banker. I can't. I would love to be a Talmid Chacham, but I can't become a Rosh Yeshiva. I'm not capable of doing that. But I am capable of doing different things. I'm capable of collecting bodies. It's something that, Baruch Hashem, I have the capability, I have the strength, I have the understanding, and I'm doing it 100% Chesed Shel Emes. Understanding that that's my connection to my father. That's why when I was 16 years old, that's where it hit me. Doing chesed and chesed and chesed everywhere, wherever I dealt with, it wasn't enough for me. All the time I was looking for more and more and more. And that's what hit me when I started being a volunteer at 16 years old in Zaka. Coming, dealing with bodies, respecting them, bringing them to a situation that no one can really do and deal with the situation. It's very, very hard. And understanding that that's the chesed, what I'm capable of doing, that other people can't. And that's where I stood in those minutes, by understanding that this is my mission. And as I said, everyone takes his part of life of chesed to do other things. My younger brother continued in Kirov, and I'm doing this chesed.
We'll be right back to my conversation about what Zaka does, and we're getting up to actually the most powerful point in it. But first, let me tell you all, together with my brother, host of Kosher Money, about the magic of BitBean.
It is magical. So I want to tell you from an owner's perspective about BitBean. It's a software company. They create software for businesses. And one thing that really struck out to me, Yaakov, was this idea that you can have 10 to 15 people on your payroll, and then you speak to BitBean, you work out some custom software, and then you start saving on payroll, right? What does that mean? How do you start saving thousands of dollars a week, not having to pay? So there's this company called TurnIn. It's an auto acquisition company. So back in the day, not even too long ago, if you wanted to sell your car, you needed to call up a dealer or someone that was going to purchase the car, have someone come down, inspect the car, upload the photos. I like it. You're actually listening to me. It's interesting.
I'm actually focusing on trying to I want to say this.
Yeah.
Last time when you were talking, I was so focused on making sure that it's the right amount of time.
Oh.
I put on a very serious face.
Okay.
I'm actively trying to smile, but to be honest, I'm not listening as well as I really should be. So it's ironic.
So
But
smile.
as long as the people listening are listening.
No,
Hold on. A way to save companies money literally every single week. So it probably could be hundreds, thousands, maybe $1 million.
Yeah, but let me explain to you how this works. If you have a car and you need to trade it in, the companies would need to send people down to look at the car, take photos of the car, send it back to corporate, look at the car, get back to you with an evaluation. Someone has to evaluate. Now they've built a tool that allows anyone from wherever they are to snap photos of the car, showcase the information, and answer the questions that the dealer wants to see. They use it together with AI to establish what the car is worth.
It's basically using technology to cut out so much labor from a person that basically computers and the right programming could take care of all of that.
Correct. I think I suspect there are hundreds of companies, even in the Orthodox Jewish world, that are overpaying on salaries that they don't have to, because software can help solve that situation.
And I think it's the beauty of BitBean. You're giving an example that could potentially work for someone, but they go to your company and they do a big audit and they say, okay, what could you be doing better? Which is...
Yeah. I think it's important for the company to have that realization themselves, right? They're not going to magically come into your company and wave a wand. I think there needs to be some level of collaboration.
For sure.
But once you have that initial conversation with them, I think it opens up a lot of people's minds to say, hey, I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. This process is cumbersome. Let me BitBeanize that process, and there's a lot of money for you waiting on the other side.
If you are ready to take that step and take your company to the next level, you could go ahead and reach out to our good friends at bitbean.com. I'll post a link in the show notes. But before we get back to this week's episode, once Ellie is here, once we are fully decked out in our Twillory clothing.
I didn't put this on special, by the way. This is what I wear.
This is your costume.
Yeah, I love the vest.
Superman has
This is my costume.
Shirt. This is yours. Okay, Twillory's air suit. Have you worn it yet? Have you worn the Twillory air suit yet?
I just took a sip. You know, on the Today Show, they drink from a cup that's empty.
Yeah.
I have worn I have two air suits. I wore one this Shabbos. It wasn't your typical dark blue. It was like checkered, and it was super comfortable. And I'm excited to wear it again this week.
Yeah, the air suit is by far the most comfortable suit I've ever worn.
So light.
And if you are the type to say, okay, I want a more classic kind of suit, Well, Twillory makes that too. Of course, it's not like your tuxedo. Definitely check out their suits. By far going to get you addicted to their clothing.
You have
so
how many air suits?
Ear suits? I have one and a black. I have like a navy and a black one coming.
You ordered the second one?
Yeah, ordered yesterday.
So the air
I
suits
love the first one.
are super light. They're not the cheapest suit. So like I always say, kosher money, if you're not in the market for a suit, then don't go there. There are cheaper suits also, but they don't last as long. So you got to weigh the two, but it is different. It's an air suit, right? You can also buy a blazer. You don't have to buy the suit.
Or just the pants.
Or just the pants. The warmer weather's coming up. I think next week what we'll do is we'll actually wear the air suits during the ad read.
I've worn my air suit during episodes. So.
Oh, just the blazer.
Yeah.
I think we'll do like model walks back and forth.
So if you would like to save $18 on your ear suit or anything at Twillory, use the code word INSPIRE on Twillory.com for $18 off.
Or Chai. Chai is my promo code.
Do not use that promo code. I mean, you could. They're both good. $18 off. Now back to this week's episode. I'm curious, is there any moment where you met with family members of the deceased, or that's
so
not?
That's where I stand in the way of making sure that my neshama, my soul, could cope with the situation. This is how I deal with it. As a medic, I come to houses, different situations. A person that had a heart attack or a child didn't get up in the morning, and I deal with situations, hard situations. So I make sure that first of all, I take care of whoever needs me on the scene itself. And then when I see I have enough partners on the scene, I walk away and I help the family. Because a lot of times the family needs a lot of support. So I support the family. And I'm there for them if they need Chesed Shel Emes, like Zaka or Chevra Kadisha. And I stay for that. And then I vanish. I don't go to Levaya and I don't go to Shiva. I never come to be Menachem Avil, because then I connect to the story all the way. Also over here, after 2.5 weeks collecting bodies and parts of bodies, the government gave me the responsibility to make sure that all the scenes and all the cars, everything comes to burial. Every drop. In the Torah, in the Bible, it says that every drop of blood, every bone, every marrow, every tissue has to come to burial. Because from earth we came, and to earth we will come back. Each one with his understanding. Yeah, some people around the world, Christians, they burn the body because they understand that from ashes to ashes. And by us as Jews, we make sure that we bury, and that's very important. So every drop of blood is like having the Bible, the Sefer Torah, burned. And it says that if a Bible falls down on the floor, a Sefer Torah falls on the floor, you have to fast. And if a Sefer Torah gets burned, a Bible gets burned, you have to take every drop of it and bury it in a way that you properly, you put it in a container and you bury it and you make a memorial to have a place for the burial. Same thing as in humanity. You have to make sure that you respect, and that's where Zaka comes in the situation. When you want to become a volunteer in Zaka, the first thing is you have to sign an agreement that you never take a picture in any scene. So people say, what does that mean? What? You have to respect the death. By respecting the death, you're respecting the people that are alive. Because no one wants to see situations like this. And today's situation, you press enter, the whole world sees it. And by understanding the respect of that, that's where we stand. Zaka stands under the police on a normal basis. It goes Zaka, police, and then the army. In hard situations like this, terror attacks, big situations, so it goes the army, police and Zaka. We're on the same level. The army uses the police and Zaka in the same situation. It doesn't make a difference who you are or what you are. You're under the command of the army. So when we're talking about the highway 34, we were under the police still, because they didn't understand how many bodies we're dealing with. After a few hours understanding that we're talking about hundreds of bodies, the army took over. And then the situation was different totally. And all these scenes, a lot of people ask, well, you don't have pictures and all that. So that's number one answer. We didn't take pictures for the first 24 hours as a normal situation. We never take pictures. But after 24 hours, we were told, also from the Rabbanim, and also from the army itself, the government asked us to make sure that we have pictures. And a few weeks after the situation, I was asked to come speak in the UN about the situations that I dealt with, women's rights and all that. So what I came to speak about is evidence, hard evidence, that we have all the pictures from the scenes itself and everything. And that's the reason I stood in front of the UN. And not only the UN, I was in England and France and Germany, different countries around the world. I came to speak in the parliament tomorrow, and in a few days I'm coming to speak in Washington, in DC, speaking to whoever needs to hear the situation, to understand what happened. As a volunteer in Zaka, we're not under any organization. We're known in the UN as an international group of people that goes and deals with situations like this around the world. As I said, in Christians and Islam, it doesn't make a difference. Humanity, understanding that humanity, that's what we had. A hard situation, dealing with the whole situation, but then we were told, you have to collect all the terrorists. We couldn't leave them just to rot on the highways.
We'll be right back this week's episode, but we're getting a lot of people asking me about Ask Tomar. Tomar, how did you even get started in the real estate in Israel business?
It actually started about 1.5 years ago. I was in shul, and a good friend of mine turns around and he says, I've been looking for an apartment in Tveria for 3 years, and I can't find anything. I can't make up my mind. And I said, what is the big deal? I will find you something. And I wasn't even in real estate, by the way. And within 3 days, I found him the apartment. At that time, I met with an attorney from Israel. He introduced me to the mortgage guys. He introduced me to the power of attorney guys, and within 1 week, I had the apartment for the guy. I got him to sign within 3 weeks of that time. And today, I set him up with an Airbnb management company. He's making money on his apartment investment in Tveria. He bought it for like $550,000, and he is so happy. He went ahead and bought another apartment with me, and he just like sings my praises. He's like, Tomer, how did you do it? Baruch Hashem, there was a special siyata d'shmaya that we had, and that's how it evolved. The Ask Tomer evolved from nothing into something tremendous, where Baruch Hashem, we have many happy clients. People who closed with me they're like, why didn't we ask Tomer before? And that's really what it boils down to. Ask Tomer is a product where there's passion, there's love, there's something, it's a connection where people come to trust you. You're a people's man. I'm a people's man. People know me, people love me, and I love the people that I respect them, and I feel it's a great connection.
Yeah, I think with purchasing anything that's like real estate, you want to work with someone who you could talk to, who you're not sure, you want to call them in the middle of the night, like you're that kind of person. So it's just, even before we're schmoozing for like 20 minutes, just stop, I'm just shooting the breeze.
Right, and that's who I am. And that's
awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's why you have so many happy clients. So if you're thinking of buying something in Israel, you're not sure, go ahead and go to asktomer.com and you will get the answer.
Just reach out to me anytime. I'm the one. No one else is going to talk to you. It's just me.
There you go.
Yeah.
What does it feel like for you when you see, I don't know if you see online, but like definitely I see online that there's so many people being like, Israel's the bad guys here, obviously like evil propaganda, but from someone who saw how malicious these attacks were for them to go ahead and say, you are actually the bad guys?
That's such a not understandable reason of how you look at the situation. Number one, if we're talking about a humanitarian, what Israel gives to Gaza, that's something that we can't explain it, how much Israel gives. And we don't need to give any answers. That's number one. People that really face it and mark it and say, you're the terrorists, you're the ones that... So I say, forget it. There's nothing to discuss.
Right.
There's nothing to discuss. Because if you wanted to accuse Israel for killing people and all that, that's something that there's no discussion at all. But if you say, we understand that, as my view of seeing, it's heartbreaking what's going on in Gaza. It is heartbreaking, understanding that children are getting killed, older people taking hostage, as I'm not talking about our hostages, I'm talking about their hostages, being live shields for the Hamas. They're using them. It's easy to say Bin Laden blew up the Twin Towers and all that, and then he ran away. And so what? And how many people got killed in Iraq, and how many people got killed in different countries around the world trying to stop ISIS, stop terror around the world? That's where we're standing. Israel is standing in a situation that they're dealing with terrorists, not with a government. We're not dealing with someone that... And the humanitarian that Gaza people are getting is going millions and millions and millions of dollars in cement and whatever it is to build the tunnels. It's not for their sake. It's against the Israeli government. You can see how much help Israel gives to the Lebanon, Syria. They had people that got injured, and Israel brought them into Israel. People from Gaza used to come to get healthcare in Israel because the understanding that, okay, they live over the border. That's where they have to live because this is a situation. If we want to live in an Israeli state, so we have to have a state. They have to have their own state, and living in a proper way of understanding that this is how they have to live. For sure, maybe give them more humanitarian help. But that's after they have someone that could help them from the inside. By having terrorists controlling, living in fear the whole time, and complaining that Israel's not helping, it's something that we don't need to deal with it at all.
Right.
And as a Zaka member, we're not in politics at all. We go around the world just to help for humanity. So it's not something that we could deal with. But we collected all these terrorists by understanding that they are human, and there are sinners, and there are people that don't do the right things, but at the end of the day, they're God's creation. And by understanding that because they are God's creation, and not only that, we understand that maybe one day we'll be able to make a certain switching between them and whoever was taken into Gaza, captured. Hopefully we'll be able to save lives in this way. So that's for sure a humanitarian way of living your life, and believing that every second that what you're doing is only HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, God's will, and this is how you have to understand to live your life, and to do whatever you can help. It doesn't make a difference if it's a Jew or not. By living your life in humanity, by giving another person part of what you have, that's understanding of living through the Torah way, the Bible way, and understanding that living that way, peace will come. Peace has to come. living in peace and standing peace and pushing towards peace and pushing away the evil. That's the main thing in life.
I saw it was one of those heartbreaking moments from the past few months, and there's been many. I don't recall his name, but there's a Hasidic fellow that was a member in Zaka that I didn't exactly know what happened, but they said like emotion, like he just had a heart, like he couldn't take it, and then like everyone's davening for him, and then sadly he passed away.
We had 2 guys that had heart attacks. They couldn't cope with the situation. He asked me when was my time, when was my breaking point. Thursday evening at 9:45, I left Be'eri. I left all the kibbutzim. I was already 6 days already working on the scenes, sleeping maybe 5 or 6 hours, not more than that. And I was told, listen, Shabbos, we're not working on the scenes, only in Shura. We had to continue bringing the evidence over there, but we're not going to be collecting bodies until Sunday. So please go home, sleep good, have Shabbos, calm down a little bit, and then Sunday we'll start again. So you're sure? And the commanders on the scene told me, listen, we don't want to see you until Sunday. I was like, no more. That's it. You and your crew, we saw you from Mitzvah Shabbos already. It's too much. Take off. And my mother-in-law came for Shabbos. My children came for Shabbos. I had like close to 45 people invited for Shabbos by me. And my wife was a nurse, psychiatrist. And I told her, listen, do me a favor, take a night shift so I can sleep for 12 hours. So I'll have a full night. And in the morning, I'll cook for Shabbos and you'll sleep. That's what we made up. And that's what we planned. And 7 o'clock in the morning, she came back from work. And I went to Shacharis. And after that, I went to buy some stuff for Shabbos. And I was planning to cook everything for Shabbos. At 9:20, my phone rings. And Chaim, what's going on? Chaim, yes. Well, what can I help you? He says to me, there are 30 bodies between Be'eri and the main wall that some of them are in different situations, and you have to leave now, like now, this second, with the truck. I said, I understand. We spoke about it last night, that if there is something, you'll call different divisions from Netivot or Fakim. It takes 2 hours to come with the truck. So I mean, no, I have to have you with the truck. So I said, okay. I called the guys, 5 members, and I told them, listen, let's bring a car. One of the guys will drive a car. The other guys will come with the truck with me, and we'll get there. And if we see Shabbos is getting closer, we'll vanish with the car. We'll leave the truck there. That was the plan. So we heading towards Netivot, towards Be'eri. Took us like 2 hours to get there, like close to 11 o'clock, something like that, approximately. We get there, and then there's no way we can get behind Be'eri. There's shooting over there, and I meet the commander over there, and he says to me, "You're crazy. You can't even think about it. You're not going past this line, because if you go in there, you're going to be captured into Gaza." That's the situation. Forget about the bodies over there. For sure, we'll have to take care of it someday. But until then, no one's going in. You're not going in. Forget it. I said, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't send me for 2 hours driving down, and another 2 hours driving back on a Friday without doing any Chesed Shel Emes. So there's a reason that I'm here. That Friday, we were able to get another 4 bodies, 2 younger bodies that were burned totally, and 2 bodies of women that we found in the scenes. One was a woman, the other one we couldn't identify it, because the situation was we couldn't identify the body because we weren't sure if it's a man or a woman. Wow. It was such a hard situation over there. You understand? If we couldn't identify, it's heartbreaking. And we had another body over there at the end. It was a terrorist, but we had a bunch of 4 or 5 bodies that we had to collect that Friday. But Baruch Hashem, we came to Shabbos knowing that we did Chesed before coming to Shabbos. And it started to be late before Shabbos. And I told the guys, I promise you, you'll be on time. I told them that you have to leave in a certain hour. So they took the car and left, and I was by myself with the truck. And part of my volunteer, I'm also a special unit that a support group. It's called Chosen. In situations like this, we give support to different guys. And one of the head of departments in the Hatzal United is a good friend of mine. So I called him up. I said, I'm driving back, and he knows the situation, what I dealt with, and I know what he dealt in the past few days. And we both burst out, put on Shabbos music. We were crying, and together we let everything out. And got back to Kiryat Sefer like 5 minutes before Shkia. And my wife wasn't so happy. But Baruch Hashem, I walked into the house, calm, let out already all the emotional. And that was my breaking point over there. I let myself let everything out because I couldn't let the guys around me to see it because they would fall apart for sure. But I knew that this is the time. I'm by myself. I knew that it's good for him, it's good for me. And we had to let it out. And Baruch Hashem, from then, I'm getting help all the time. And I know that I need to get the help because what I dealt with, and I'm still dealing with, speaking every day, going around the world as an English speaker. As I said, I was in Europe, I was in the UN, I'm speaking in Washington this week, different places. Every evening I have events, televisions, different radio stations, reporters all around the country, around the world, come to hear from me. And Baruch Hashem, I have big siyat dishmaya. I know I'm a shliach. One of the days in Kfar Aza, a guy comes over to me, starts hugging me and crying. And like for 20 minutes, half an hour, this guy's like hugging me. Like I said, okay, it's like 20 minutes, a half hour. So he says to me, you don't recognize me. So I said, no, I don't recognize you. So he says to me, my name is this and this. I'm your father's Talmud. So I said to him, and
Right.
he says to me, now I understand what the Chazon Ish said. We as Talmidim, we always thought that we're your father's Talmud, we have to continue his way of being Mikar of people, Bali Tshuva. Now I see what you're doing, being Mikar of Klal Yisrael, being understanding that the world should understand how important it is for humanity to be united, to be connected. And this is what you're doing. You're connecting the whole world by understanding that humanity, by loving each other and not being against each other. That's what the Chazon Ish said. And that hit me. Like, wow. I never saw that view, that understanding. But that's what he pushed it into my face. Like, that's your mission now. And that's the reason I'm continuing going around the world, spreading the words of humanity, of understanding, loving each other, and living for peace, and understanding that there is no way of living different, of understanding, of Avas Yisrael, Avas Chaverim, and enjoying people, enjoying each other, and living life, connecting to each other. Zaka. Zaka stands for Zihui Korbanot Ason, identifying bodies in different situations. That was until Simchas Torah, until the event. From Simchas Torah, Zaka stands for Ze Kiruv Achim. That means Zaka, the organization, is the one to connect between brothers. And this is what we're doing, uniting everyone together. understand that love and peace will bring peace. And this is what we're doing.
Wow. Okay. Really incredible. I think it's not a job, but your volunteer work is probably the hardest volunteer work in the world. I hope it just gets easier. And for people who obviously want to get involved with Zaka, who are feeling like, like myself, like I can't even imagine to be in your position, that want to help. What's the best way they could help?
Well, basically now Zaka, what we dealt already. And as I said, we need help. So we have special units now, we're getting special care. And it's costing millions. Because whatever we can fund, whatever we can get from the government, we're getting peanuts. We're getting group sessions and stuff like that. We need private sessions. And people are falling apart.
You mean like therapy?
Therapy, for sure. Wow. Private therapy, private sessions.
I can't imagine there's not one person who's involved since October 7th that doesn't need therapy.
Exactly. Not only we as volunteers, our wives, our children.
Right.
Me, I left my business. 4 months, my business is closed because I was in the whole situation. So my workers are falling apart. And I need to help them also. And so whoever is around Zaka, whoever is involved in Zaka, has to get the help. So there's so much to donate, so much to help. And don't forget what's going up north. We have to be ready. So there's so many things. We need more supplies. We need ambulances. There's so much to give. So in any point of view of helping, and any opportunity of helping, for sure it's going to be a help.
Wow.
And understanding that by helping, not everyone is capable. So someone told me, so why don't you ask people for money? So I said, I know to collect bodies. I don't know to collect money. That's everyone has his point of trying to do whatever it is. And for me, is to do chesed, is to collect the bodies, to deal with something that someone else can't do. But if someone else is capable of bringing money or raising money or trying to help by doing this part, that's his partnership. And this is what we're asking the people to understand this is where we're standing. And we need the help because anyone around Eretz Yisrael, anyone in Klal Yisrael needs the help, needs the understanding. First of all, for sure, that having the hug of people around the world, understanding that someone else cares for you, that's very, very helpful. But by having support, money-wise, for sure, it's much more easier to go through the pain and the understanding that we have so many people behind us around the world, not only Jews. There's so many people, Christians, different communities are all the time wanting to help. There's Muslims, different Muslims countries and different people that say, okay, humanity, we understand the situation in Israel. For sure, they want to help in Gaza, but they want to help Israel also to survive and to understand that people need to have the help. And we appreciate everything that people do for us.
Really incredible. Keep up your great work, and thank you for spending some time here today.
Thank you, and thank you for listening to what we have to say. And one thing we have to ask for everyone, please continue praying that we should stay healthy as much as we could, because the situation is putting us into a hard situation. And praying for us, that's the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this week's episode. If you got this far in the YouTube video, then go ahead and leave the comment. What comment should we leave this week? I think we should leave powerful, because that is what Zaka is. They are powerful. The strength that it takes to do what they do, it's a lot. And personally, what I thought is that, I think we take for granted all the work that they're putting in, and we think about how hard that is, but we don't realize that for the rest of their lives, the members of Zaka will be carrying this burden that they've been doing. And it's crazy to me. It's all volunteer. Like, if you told me you're paying me $500,000 a year to do what they do, I wouldn't do it. And I think most people wouldn't. and it's really Chesed Shel Emes. So if you are appreciative of what Zaka does, we're gonna have a link below. They didn't even ask me to do it, and I asked him like, no, give me a unique link. I want to show you how powerful the family at Living L'Chaim is. So go ahead, if you love this show, if you love this episode, if you love what Zaka does, go ahead, open your hearts, open your wallets, and donate to them so they could always be there. I hope we never need them. When Mashiach comes, we don't need Zaka anymore. But in the meantime, you could be a part of their mission by helping support them. And I was very sad when he mentioned the idea that they need therapy, right? All these guys guys and girls, they all need therapy. So, to think about it, the schus that you're going to get for giving therapy to them. If you haven't reached out to Tomer yet, go ahead, click on the link in the show notes. Go to his website, go to his phone, just give him a call. If you're not sure, just give Tomer a call. If you haven't bought a Dream Raffle ticket, I'm telling you guys, this is the year where someone from the Living L'Chaim family wins, I hope. Come on, buy it, and I hope you win that free apartment. And if you haven't checked out our friends at BitBean, go to BitBean and...
You mentioned BitBean?
Yeah, I'm doing the outro.
Oh, okay. Tell me what.
BitBean, you heard retroactively what Ellie had to say about them. And then also Twillory. Ellie's wearing his Twillory vest. I'm wearing my Twillory vest.
You have the same color?
Wait, is that not a Twillory? Is this a Twillory shirt?
Twillory shirt.
It is a shirt. Good.
By the way, every time I'm in public, they look at my socks. Everyone's looking at my shoes on Shabbos, trying to see if I'm wearing Twillory.
Yeah, getting called out for not wearing a Twillory yarmulke.
Twillory shirt?
This is a Twillory shirt, yeah.
You picked purple?
No, I didn't. They sent it to me.
But you loved Barney growing up.
I did, and I wanted to gift this friend to
Can they see me?
my friend Paul. I don't even know. I think so. So yeah, go use the code word INSPIRE at our good friends at Twillory and get $18 off the airsuit. Are you gonna watch this episode with Zaka?
I never watch any of your episodes.
You ever watched one?
Yes, the one that I co-hosted with the Mashiach guy.
You watched that one.
Yeah, I was in it. I wanted to see how I
If you haven't watched our Mashiach episode, we're gonna have a link, and also you can click on the screen to watch the Mashiach episode.
to put the link in. You will. You're not gonna put.
I'm gonna put the link in. Comment on it if I didn't put the link in. And if you haven't rated us on Spotify or Apple, rate us 5 stars. Because every time you do that, someone in Shemayim says,
No, Yaakov.
I know, I spoke to a malach today.
You can't say that.
Okay, fine, that's not true. Fine, but 5 stars, rate us. It really helps us. It makes me happy. Until next time.
Wait, what? Kosher Money.
Oh, if you didn't watch Elliot Pepper and Kosher Money, I just got a message, by the way.
Yeah.
From someone. I didn't show it to you yet because we were having a difference of opinion of what type of episodes to do.
Yeah.
And someone said, hey, I love Kosher Money podcast. The idea is great. Something our community can benefit a lot
Sounds
from.
like he just learned about Kosher Money.
More practical episodes, please, especially for mortgages and first-time home buyers. Either way, the guy really appreciated the practical episode about how to properly go about taxes.
I think this should be a
This outro's
podcast.
too long.
No, it's not. People love
No
us.
one's even here.
No?
We have 7.
My social is 563-2715.
This should be a podcast?
Yes.
Charlene Amanoff wants us to be the guests on her Purim episode. I said it's too vain.
What am I, a clown? Am I a clown? Do I make jokes?
You could speak to Charlene. I said it's like too vain of like another show. Okay, we're gonna be on another show as a guest.
Yaakov,
This is not a show.
I am a celebrity. People want to hear from me. They're
So what
sick
do you have
and
to say?
tired of me asking questions about money. They want me to do comedy.
I think there should be more comedy in Kosher Money.
Okay, this outro is over. Listen to Kosher Money Inspiration.
It's also like just doesn't match. This is like an episode about Zaka. It's like a very sad and somber and serious episode, and they're like we're making light sounds because it's Adar.
Double Adar Farbman. Okay. Take
Okay,
care.
keep your money kosher. Okay, subscribe. Thank you. L'chaim.
Keep this in.
Okay. Living L'chaim.